here that we have different formulas for standard deviation. This one would be for a sample. This one doesn't use the sigma, but it would be for the population because there is no adjustment here. This is the unadjusted standard deviation. And you'll notice that sometimes the sigma is used anyway by some people for the sample, but our textbook uses this indication here, and this is what we'll be working with today on the problem that we will be doing, and I will be referring to this. The particular problem we'll be working on is number 1 of 3.3 standard tendency and dispersion grouped data. I'm going to use a similar question. And we're dealing with a random sample of 13 to 18-year-olds who are asked how much do you currently have in savings. And as we look at the data, you will notice that it is binned, at least in the indication here. But if we click on this StatCrunch option, it places them in a lower limit and upper limit, but never really puts them in a bin. I'm going to show you how to do this manually, then I'm going to show you how to fix this particular problem to do it very quickly using StatCrunch. But I want you to see the manual method so that you will understand how standard deviation works. First of all, we have to find a mean between this point and the next lower limit. Between 0 and 100 happens to be 100. And we'll call this mean. And between 200 and 400 would be 300. And so forth. Now that I have the mean data point, these 349 individuals averaged 100. We're assuming this. These 93 averaged 300 and so forth. So what I really need to do now is I need to determine the mean of all these data points. So I have to multiply this column by this column. And so again, we'll click on Data, Compute, Expression. And I need to build an expression. And so I will click on Frequency, Add Column, times the mean column and that column. Then click OK, not pictured, and compute. And that provides a new column for us. And we need to know now the total of this column. This is all of our data, all the money that was saved, by the total of this column. We will click on Stat, Summary Stats, Columns. I'm holding down the Control key, and I click on the frequency. Then I click on Emergency times mean, and I'm going to scroll down. Scroll down to this one, to the sum. I'm going to click Compute, not pictured. And you notice I have a sum of 542 and a frequency times mean of 126,600. I'm going to divide this by this. I'm going to use a calculator because it's just so much faster. I got $233.57, which rounds to $234. Let's check to see if that's going to be right. $234. I'm clicking on Check Answer, not pictured. And It looks like we got that right. So we'll hold on to that information, and we're going to now create a new column in StatCrunch. And we're going to call it really should have called this one midpoint. I'm going to change it between here and here because I want to use the word mean right here. And the mean is 234. I'm going to hit Control. And now, you remember our formula. I have to subtract the mean from the data point, each individual data point. Our book actually puts a little I here for individual. And so, StatCrunch spreadsheet, I want to subtract, I want to have 100 minus 234, etc., all the way down. So I'm going to take the midpoint column, subtract the mean column. I'm going to build an expression, compute expression. I want to build this. And so I will take the midpoint, so data, head column, minus mean, head column. Click OK, not pictured, and click compute. Okay, there's all my differences. Let's go back to our formula, see what we need to do at this point. Formula tells us after we subtract, we have to square this. Okay. So, go to data again, compute expression, build the expression, click on midpoint minus mean, or the difference there, and add that column. We want to square this. I'm going to go up 2 for my exponent. Click OK, not pictured. Click compute. And now I have all of those differences squared. Our formula now tells us we need a summation of each of those squared data points. So, and I need that many, 349 of these items squared to get a total sum of that particular bin. Now I need 93 of this one, etc. So I'm going to multiply frequency times this squared column. So I'm going to go to data, compute, expression, build the expression. I'm going to take my frequency, head column, times this squared column. I would say 10 times first. Times the squared column, add that column, click OK, compute it. Now I need to get the sum of all this. So I will click on Stat, Sum and Stats, columns, select that last column, and then I'm going to scroll down to click Compute, and you notice this sum is this number. Now I need to take this number and divide it by 1 less than, okay, so I have this number, I need to take the square root of this number and divide it by this number, minus 1 by 41, and take the square root of all that. I get $224.92, which rounds up to $225. Let's check our answer. And that's another good answer. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this very quickly in StatCrunch, and this is really the only problem in this section that is going to require the work that I'm going to do to get this a little quicker. So if I go back to StatCrunch, I'm going to call this one bins. And instead of it being 0, I'm going to change it to 0 to 199. This one, 200 to 399. Okay, now with all of those made as bins instead of just lower limit and upper limit, and all your other questions in this section will look like this. Let me show you how quickly I can do the same problem. I will click on Stats, Summary Stats, Grouped Bin Data, select the variable in bins, counts in, frequency, consecutive lower limits, click Compute, and you'll notice my mean is $234. My standard deviation is 224.907, which runs up to 225. So you look at our answers, there's 234 and 225. This video has helped you, and I hope you will subscribe to this YouTube channel.